Chris, right now we're going to welcome Florence Firmineau to the studio. Almost called you France Firmineau.
France Firmineau, my middle name.
You are France to us. Well, you've certainly been looking through the French papers for us this morning. There's quite a lot of political goings-on grabbing the headlines today, including somebody who's a big name in French politics, perhaps not so well known outside of France. Flo, this is François Bayrou. He ran for president twice, I believe, as head of his own centrist party. Now, of course, the centre ground belongs to Emmanuel Macron, the president, but Bayrou has positioned himself as an ally. Why is he in the papers today?
Well, remember, he's the justice minister, and he's in charge of pushing a new law through, a bill, in fact, to clean up French politics. And he's going to present this law to the cabinet meeting, which takes place on Wednesdays. But the problem is that his party, the MoDem, and indeed he himself, have been accused of unethical behavior. So you can see him here on the front page of Aujourd'hui en France, Le Parisien, the Bayrou case. According to Aujourd'hui en France, Le Parisien, Bayrou is responsible for the government's first false note. Essentially, he's been accused of trying to put pressure on journalists. What happened, and why is Le Parisien calling him Mr. Embarrassment, the embarrassing Mr. Bayrou? It's because essentially he called a journalist from Radio France, so the state radio channel, to complain about an investigation that they're carrying out into allegations of fake jobs at the European Parliament involving his centrist MoDem party. It's a little bit complicated, but essentially he's upset about the investigation into his own party. He's called it an inquisition, but this did not go down well with the new prime minister, Edouard Philippe, who publicly called him to order. But what's interesting is François Bayrou didn't apologize for perhaps being out of line. In fact, he said, when I have something to say, I say it. So no one's backing down in this story.
Interesting, though, to call up the newsroom rather than sort of go on the record and say, look, I'll give you my side on the microphone sort of thing. Yeah, it's not quite the tactic.
Perhaps going behind the scenes a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. Well, a preliminary investigation has been launched into allegations of fake jobs at the European Parliament. How many parties and people have we heard this about now? This is according to the satirical weekly The Canard Enchaîné. The scandal goes further.
The scandal could go further for Bayrou in particular. This is the article that they're talking about. Garde des Sceaux is essentially the justice minister. Now, this involves François Bayrou's personal secretary. She amended her contract with Bayrou in 2010 to essentially become the local parliamentary assistant for the Euro MP Marielle de Sarnez, who is currently the Minister of European Affairs, and she is a very close ally of François Bayrou. She's seen as being his right-hand woman. Now, according to the Canard Enchaîné, because of this amended contract, half and then third of her salary was paid for by the European Union. But according to sources quoted in the Canard Enchaîné, she actually remained François Bayrou's secretary. She actually never really worked for the European Union. Now, according to the Canard Enchaîné and several other papers, this is just yet another example of how ironic it is that it's François Bayrou who's in charge of this new law to make French politics more ethical. And this, of course, was a promise of Emmanuel Macron's when he was running for president.
Yeah, it sort of reminds us of the man put in charge of cleaning up tax evasion who was found to have secret bank accounts in Switzerland, doesn't it? This, of course, as we said, allegations that François Bayrou is resisting at the moment. He's claiming that they're not true. Some papers, though, do wonder whether this budding scandal could put paid to Bayrou's ministerial career almost before it's even begun.
Indeed. Les Echos, the business paper, is focusing on this and focusing on something that you were just mentioning, that, you know, Bayrou is seen as having played a key role in actually getting Emmanuel Macron elected in the first place, because he traditionally had that role of being the man in the center, and he gave his essentially backing to Emmanuel Macron in the lead up to the presidency, and it's seen as really having given him a crucial push. But according to Les Echos, you know, come this Sunday, after the second round of the parliamentary elections, Macron isn't going to need François Bayrou anymore, politically at least. Bayrou is increasingly seeming out of place. He's kind of old school, a reminder of the old world, the old way of doing things, the world that Emmanuel Macron wants to move away from. And so Les Echos says, you know, the balance of power is no longer in François Bayrou's favor, essentially. And so he needs to watch out.
Yeah, he doesn't really fit with that image that we're getting from the République En Marche party of kind of new faces, people who've not spent their entire lives in politics. The communist paper, though, taking a closer look at some candidates from La République En Marche, Emmanuel Macron's party.
That's right, because, Macron wants to give this squeaky clean image to his party, but there are several candidates who are accused of shady behavior. Chief among them is the man there on the right, Richard Ferrand. You might be familiar with his name. We've been talking about him a lot. He's currently the Minister of Territorial Cohesion, and he's in hot water over a shady property deal that he made some years back. So you can see here, L'Humanité, the communist paper, says that, when it comes to cleaning up French politics, well, En Marche is not showing the example. Now, according to Mediapart, so that's an investigative website, Richard Ferrand could be involved in another shady property deal. This is from September 2016. He allegedly sold part of his parliamentary headquarters in Brittany to socialists. Now, the question is, did he buy that property initially with public money? That is going to be the key issue that we'll be bringing you updates about.
All right, and we've just got time to just put on screen the front page of the sports paper L'Équipe. It's headlining on France beating England in the football friendly last night, 3-2 the final scoreline.
Indeed, and France showed off some of its new talent, so they're talking about a new fresh wind of change after that win.
There we go. Finishing on a positive sporting note. Thanks very much, Florence Villeminot. We'll be back after the break with more on our top international headlines.